Come and let's play together in the bright sunny weather. Let's all go to Gullah Gullah Island. Gullah Gullah, Gullah Gullah. Hello everyone, my name is Joelle Simone Anthony. I am also known as the Grave Woman, and if this is your first time here, I am asking you to please hit the subscription button as well as the notification bell so that you can be uploaded anytime I upload new content. So, if you recognize that song that I just sang, that means that you are familiar with the show Gullah Gullah Island. And believe it or not, I'm actually from Gullah Gullah Island, and I believe there's actually footage of me dancing around somewhere within that show. Um, and I decided to feature and talk about Gullah Gullah Island this morning and start my video off with that song because I want to talk to you about our spiritual beliefs around death, dying, and grief in the Gullah and Geechee culture, particularly pertaining to topics of premonitions about death and the term hants. The particular area of Gullah Gullah Island that I am from is called Beaufort, South Carolina, and it's located slightly south of Charleston, South Carolina, and a little bit to the, I believe, east of Hilton Head, South Carolina, which are areas that I'm sure if you haven't heard of Beaufort, you've heard of that area. And what makes Beaufort, South Carolina special is that Beaufort, South Carolina, any person of African American descent here in the United States, about, I dare to say 90% was the last statistic that I read, could track their lineage to Beaufort, South Carolina. Within Beaufort, South Carolina is the Port Royal Sound, and the Port Royal Sound is where many of the ships that bought enslaved Africans from the western coast of Africa, they were brought to Beaufort, South Carolina and dropped off at the Port Royal Sound. And what makes our area so special is that a lot of our culture as West African people, descendants of the Yoruba culture and other cultures that came here as enslaved people from Africa, a lot of our traditions were preserved in the Gullah and Geechee region. So Beaufort, South Carolina is not only an extremely beautiful place, but it is an extremely sacred and spiritual place. And that sacred and spiritual connection and energy and culture is referred to as the Gullah and Geechee culture. Now, the Gullah and Geechee culture expands from parts of Florida all the way up to Virginia. However, the heart of the Gullah and Geechee culture is my hometown of Beaufort, South Carolina. So, in Beaufort, South Carolina, and throughout the Gullah and Geechee culture, we believe strongly in not only our connection to spirit, but spirit's connection to communicate with us through the form of premonitions, signs, and forebodings about death. This shows up in a variety of ways, depending on the individual. For me personally, I experience this in several ways. I have dreams about certain individuals or deceased individuals. I see signs in the forms of birds, in the forms of trees falling, in the form of just energy. And one of the main ways that I've been able to track throughout the years is seeing hearses in just random places. For example, a few years ago, I was working a job at a office building, and all of a sudden, a hearse pulls up in front of the building while my coworker and I are putting up a Christmas tree. And I said to her, whenever I see hearses in just random places like this, it normally means that someone is going to pass away. So we go on our Christmas break. I think it might have been 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe a week. I don't remember. But when we came back, she came and found me and she said, "Do you know that this person's father passed away the evening that you told me about this?" And I was like, that doesn't surprise me. I'm sorry to hear about her dad. However, I know when I see these hearses in completely random places, it means that someone's going to pass away. I also get this really, really, really strong gut feeling The best way that I can describe it is that I'm walking between two worlds. I'm physically present here in the walking reality, in the walking world, but at the same time, I am spiritually more connected to the other side. And I've learned that when I feel that way, my job is to go into prayer and to go into meditation and help hold space for whoever it is that's crossing over, whether it's somebody that I know directly or somebody that is connected to someone that I'm familiar with and have a relationship with. I used to honestly get freaked out by this feeling because it always seemed like whenever I felt this way, people would die. And this has been something that I've been experiencing since I was a little girl. So this isn't like something that just started happening one day. And so my Nana, who was a very, very, very spiritual and deep person, she used to tell me when I got that feeling to just begin to pray. And I added the meditation once I learned about that. And since I've begun doing that and purging myself and being very aware of the energy that I'm around when I get that feeling and honoring that feeling, being grateful for and showing gratitude and expressing love for that feeling, I feel like now it's put me in the position to again hold space and help that person's spirit navigate clearly to the other side, even if I'm not physically in contact with them. Um, Something that helps me when I have that feeling is making sure that I'm hydrated and taking showers. I don't know what it is, but whenever I get into water, when I'm having those feelings or having that, I call it my grave woman tingle, it just makes me feel so much better and almost grounds me back into this physical reality and physical space. I know my mother, when her premonition shows up in the form of not being able to sleep, when she gets restless and isn't able to really to get into a deep night's sleep, that normally means that someone is going to pass away that's either in our family or closely tied to our family. My dad gets premonitions. My sister has dreams. My grandmother can actually see spirits. She was born with holes on the tops of her ears. And in our culture, that is representative of having vision. A lot of people say they're born with the veil or they're born under the veil, meaning that they are born with a covering over their eyes, whether it be their umbilical sac or just a lot of fluid and mucus over their eyes. A lot of people will say, you know, they were born with a veil or born under a veil. So people that are born with that are said to be able to see spirits. Now that brings me to a term that I wanted us to explore called Hants. Um, Hants is a play off of the word haunts, which are spirits, energies, or what people refer to as ghosts that a lot of times make people uncomfortable. They make them afraid. They say that they have negative or evil energy. And what we do in our culture, especially when someone passes away or when they're troubling times, we have what are they called? Panels on most of the homes, and you see this in places like Louisiana, Haiti, Puerto Rico, but you also see it in Beaufort, South Carolina. There are side panels on the windows on the homes, and they have different colors. Those colors are said to protect the home and its inhabitants from evil energy, hants, ghosts, and demons. So when someone passes away, a lot of times you'll see those panels closed. Um, when someone is going through a hard time in their life or home or expecting a baby, a lot of times you'll see those panels closed. Many times they're going to be either blue, orange, or some type of red, and those colors are closely associated with spirituality and things that we believe about energy in our culture. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. Let me go over my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, nope, I got everything. So what are the spiritual beliefs and cultural beliefs in your culture, in spiritual practice, and maybe even your religion that tie closely to premonitions about death, ghosts, spirits and energies. I'd love to learn from you guys, and I look forward to sharing more information about my culture, which is the Gullah and Geechee culture of Beaufort, South Carolina, with you all in future videos. Live life, live hard, and I'll talk to you next time.